Archetypes are very important, and I'm going to try to sell you on that. Do you really think about archetypes at all? No, you don't. But it's something I happen to think about quite a bit. And it's something I do with writing. So when I'm writing a story, you are building a character. And as I'm building a character, I follow certain archetypes, certain little things that define a person that the audience will be able to understand. It's like, oh, okay, I know this. And then you know how they're going to have certain faults, certain strengths, different things like that. Archetypes are also seen in psychology. It was really Carl Jung who started off a lot of work. He said that he had a dream where he went deep down to some deep places like basement and found these symbols, these archetypes that helped him have a better understanding of people and help people have a better understanding of themselves, which allowed them to heal. So, you don't read psychology books or watch TV stuff about psychology, right? But you do follow the story all the time. You follow your favorite movie, your favorite TV shows. And even if you're not following it through TV and movies, you're also following it through the news, entertainment drama. You have different people that are very famous that people love to follow. And you also have political drama, which in the United States right now, we've been living out for a couple years. And it's all story. That's what you're really watching. You're watching other people's lives and watching their stories. And these people are also showing you and can be probably categorized into certain archetypes. So understanding archetypes can help you in so many ways. And that's what I want to talk about today because it can help you have peace in your life. I'm going to get to that later, but it's really, really, really important. Stay tuned. Hello and welcome. I am the Legendary Daddy. This is my book, Legendary Daddy, and today I want to talk about archetypes. Daddy is an archetype. We'll get back to that later. So I'm going to have to go a little deep right now and start talking about where this stuff really came from. Everything is believed to be made up of energy. Everything that we think is solid, our own bodies, the table, the chair, all these different things, it's made up of energy. As human beings, with our minds, are creating our world. We are reality creating machines, okay? So, when we do that, if you can go back millions of years and you think about the thought process of, primitive man, there were things that he saw and she saw that was identified as a certain thing. So let's say a tree. Let's say a rock. As we grew as people, our energy and the way we saw certain things too were also put on people. Like I said about the daddy thing, well, if you become a father, you start believing, okay, this is exactly what it means to be a father. This is what it means to be a mother. That was our energy, a collective energy that land on certain things and end up labeling them, categorizing them into what becomes archetypes. A really good example of this is the first written texts. Let's go to Homer and the Iliad. When it comes to these stories, many scholars believe that Homer, some guy, was not the person who just wrote the Iliad. It was a collective. It was a group of people that brought their thoughts together, brought their minds together to tell this story. We are talking about campfire stories here, about people, different people telling the story. So you have a man telling the campfire story about this big war and this big battle. But then a woman's going to tell the story maybe next time, and she has a completely different point of view from a woman, as a woman. Then you have your enemy, someone you completely have complete contrast with, telling their side of the story. Once it's gone through human consciousness, that really, really, really creates a beautiful story, a full story with so many different archetypes that you can see. That's why these old stories are so important, because when you look at them, you can identify that is a king. This is the way kings act. That is the archetype of warrior. That's what the warrior does. This is what the lover does. This is what the priestess does. All of these things come together. That's what we're able to identify through these old stories, going to the Bible. The legend of King Arthur, he was a general, actually, and he was a person who won many battles, and he ended up writing a story, passing it through different people's minds. All of a sudden, there's Excalibur, there is Merlin, a magician, there's all these different things, different archetypes get added. The really cool thing is that even today, even nowadays, we are still doing this. We're still creating archetypes, Think back to the 50s. Did you remember seeing in movies before that, the high school nerd? The belief is that we are constantly creating these different things. with the new generation coming forth with computers and with the internet, it's going to be creating more and more new archetypes. And to someone like me, it's really fun because you get to understand them, investigate them, kind of look in different ways and pick them apart and learn about people through these archetypes. And that's something that's very helpful. That's where I was talking about how it can give you peace one day. Because if you find yourself getting frustrated with certain archetypes, I think you're going to have to come to the understanding that they're not going away. I know quite a bit of people in my community that aren't very big on fighting. You know, big muscle, beating people up, all these different... And the warrior archetype has been around for thousands of years and will continue to be. If someone's comes into this world and their archetype is the warrior, how do you tell them just to be a pacifist? Just don't do that, do this. That is completely wrong. What we understand over time is that you have to understand the differences between these archetypes. It helps to do that. Think about a warrior having a child, a young girl or a young boy that is a geek or an artist. Is the warrior supposed to put them into Pee-wee football? Maybe not. So these are things that are really helpful and that can help you understand. I have my own archetypes where I look closely at others who have gone through my path and I see the similarities. And those similarities in their path helps me make corrections on my own or helps me look forward to what's going to be coming ahead. Now, when it comes to archetypes, like I said, it can give you peace because you can have a better understanding about how we're all different in this world. There's one thing, if you really want to make positive changes, that every archetype has, and that is the light and the shadow side. So every one of us has the potential to choose darkness. And this might help you so that you can decide how to love your archetype and maybe choose the light. Or maybe even have a good understanding of the archetype and not judge it so much, because you might be judging an archetype that is just showing you the shadow side of it. Politicians, for instance, can be very helpful to our communities and not be exhibiting shadow. I hope I sparked up your interest in some kind of way, because if you click like and subscribe and all that kind of good stuff, hit that notification bell, you will be able to see, hopefully, the next video I'm able to put together. I'm going to start with an archetype that many scholars believe that we all as humanity share, and that is the archetype of the victim. We will be looking at the light and the dark side of that. I think I've known that one too well in my past. Anyways, peace.